You know, as my elder sister, Margaret Ann Winter, who's known here at YouTube as Peggy Childers, has been, I'm just a silenced old woman here on YouTube. I've been deplatformed 4 times now by Google for no reason. Now, I'm a centrist and I'm a monarchist. And I've been shadow banned, tricked, censored, and non-disclosed, ridiculed, and laughed at. But, you know, so generally are prophetic figures in general. A single individual, I cannot afford attorneys and lawyers to sue the social media, even if legislation passes that to enable individuals to sue the social media. You have to have deep pockets. Okay, I can't hire the lawyers to make my case that my work ought to be fairly distributed by the social media algorithms, which they routinely bury, all right? Their algorithms cancel me by my very words. My words are what the algorithms use to move things out of the way. But all my hand-wringing doesn't help, you know? And what works better is for me to set my sights on where I want and intend to end up here, all right? Media do not permit centralized consensus movements. They want to keep the two polarizations separated, okay? And that's why the likes of PragerU gets routinely censored, and I get censored because I'm a centrist, university trained in conflict analysis to bring parties together in a dispute and not keep them separate. And this is the sedition of the mainstream media and the social media, who absolutely intend and prefer to keep the left and the right, the red and the blue, the liberals and the conservatives separated as much as possible. They want to keep the I'm righter than you and we're righter than them, the basis for all civil and non-civil dialogue, right? Divide and separate is the media and civil strategy that enlivens the I'm righter than you case for domination of one side over the other. Now, being an advocate for justice and or fairness doesn't presume that the person who's exercising advocacy has methods at hand that result in truth, and good judgments over false judgments. All right, just saying I'm for this and against that doesn't mean you know how to get there from here. And what the left has been doing has been wrecking and destroying methodically. In fact, universities teach the Frankfurt School and the protocols and Saul Alinsky and Marxism, which are all methods top down of destroying the civil order that already existed by the laws that established a nation in the first place. And when problems show up, instead of repairing the method to solve the problems, the response of the left is to just get rid of everything. And then what are you left with? You're left with a Venezuela, or you're left with a situation as they have in China now, which is just really sad. Okay, so problem solving is not the same as disputing, nor is it as sufficient. Rewarding good behavior also means discouraging wasteful behavior, and in knowing how to behave to resolve conflicts and disputes. Pursuing the one world agenda and pushing socialism on people, whether they are attuned with it or not, is more important to the left than public health or civil order or even having an economy that functions. So let's start looking at the university teachings that are merely destroying the civil order we have. We are witnesses to staged chaos, staged physical protest violence, staged legalist violence against common law, staged economic violence against workers, staged media stupidity, staged medical violence, and iatrogenic deaths. Did you know 250,000 people in the United States die every year from medical malpractice and mistakes alone, okay? We have to confront threats of forced vaccines and forced chipping by a medical science that has been politicized. And so, like a lot of people, I'm disgusted, but I'm not intimidated. Why am I not intimidated? I'm old, okay? I really have no dog in this fight anymore. I'm pushing 80. What are you going to take from me, okay? What do I have to lose? I'm not going to stand and let these younger generations who've been methodically programmed into insubordination and a contempt for the civil order that kept our country together. I'm not going to stand and just let them walk over me. I don't think that that's appropriate. The left claims that white people are evil because white people run the CIA, the FBI, and the DOJ covert operations and backroom dealing, all right? But you got to think about it. Their families and friends are not the same people who are protesting the secret ops, the slavery, the human trafficking, and the protection racketeering that are going on as presumed statecraft. You know, presumed statecraft, it's called regime change, all right? It's called finance by drug running and gun running and human trafficking. Those aspects of hidden departments in the government have been financing chaos for 40 years, since George Herbert Walker Bush established Zapata oil company in the Gulf of Mexico back in the 50s. And since he was at the core and the foundation of the MJ-12 movement to reject the non-aggression methods of the Anunnaki ET race and embrace instead the commercial and mercenary methods of the Greys and the other races who wanted the El-Anu Treaty, which was the galactic treaty that allowed one race to call another race, to be preeminent in this world. The left protects their ideologues and their ideologies, never mind what's actually true. And quackademia no longer teaches laws of cause and effect. They have been teaching since I was a kid, 70 years ago, theories and comparisons of theories. They teach alternative vocabularies for the same methods in different domains. So they teach confusion, and they are not embarrassed about it. I found out at university that phenomenology in philosophy is the same as parallel processing in computer science and interactive management in public policy. But the academics don't have a sense of wanting a harmony that is holistic in teaching and vocabulary and language. The reason the King James Bible is such a valuable summary tool of the covenants of the planetary sovereign, and we can get into that some other time, is that because the King James Bible has a very rich vocabulary, which some of the newer versions do not. You know, industry and commerce see profitability as the value above all other values, above life itself, above thriving their entire staff, above conserving their communities, and certainly above climate stability and environmental integrity. Big tech is the reason. Its cynicism is the foundation for the cause of protest by the young people who see that there's no way out of the cynicism of the industrial model. I had a buddy in the 90s, a rich guy, okay, Harvard emeritus professor, Jerry Schafflander, who had developed hydrogen fuel cars in the 1970s. He had set up hydrogen gas pumps in various places across the country, and he had hydrogen distilling plants, and he was going to sell non-biofuels back in the 70s. But Wall Street and Congress destroyed Jerry for his work to decentralize energy consumption. Hydrogen fuel in cars, although developed with the network of hydrogen stations, were taken down and his company was destroyed. So it's the same thing as Big Pharma wanting to vaccinate everybody and insert chips in everybody to keep the population under the control of their ideology, all right? And it's a reason why Big Pharma wants to delete my generation of elders who knew about these other things from long ago. In the LNU Treaty that I've quoted before, genome reengineering has always been unlawful in galaxy law by the Christos founders. And so the genetic engineering that is going on now is in contempt of the galactic bureaucracy, which NASA and NRO and NSA go to such lengths to prevent us from knowing anything about, all right? But for me, this is why killing babies for their body parts is such a revolting and disgusting social outcome. My God. We must never remain silent when we witness evil at work like this. And what is evil? Evil is treachery, double dealing, takia, fraud. Okay, evil is jizya, it's protection tax, racketeering, slavery, bribery, usury, piracy. Evil is jihad, it's divide and conquer, and false facts parading as news. That's evil. Evil itself isn't even defined nor called out as discrete and identifiable behaviors at the university level. In my conflict analysis and resolution program in 5 years from 1988 to 1993, the word evil and the word behaviors never came in close proximity. They were avoiding the issue of what was evil. Now, Joseph Gregory Hallett is not the only blood royal challenging the legitimacy of the current royal family. I do also, because I'm one of the long lost kids of Edward VIII, all right? And it doesn't matter about the DNA test or the reputation or the actual story, because it's all been buried. Because what matters is the issues and the principles that are at work in the world now, which have overruled and overwritten the common laws of the land and the decency of the church and the integrity of the economic process. Now, the Privy Council of the UK is made up of rich white folks who only govern themselves. And that means that they're charged to choose a royal for king and queen now that the current House has been pretty much repudiated. The Privy Council appears not to be particularly concerned about the fact that Britons are lost and need a true, effective, and empathetic leader as monarch. They seem to prefer puppetry, and that's the reason why I speak out here against the anonymatized Privy Council, 600 rich people who are sitting on their hands and not paying attention to the fact it's their turn to step up to the plate and declare a new monarch. If the new CEO of the Crown Corporation is going to be Gregory Hallett, if you look at his accomplishments, his record of character and skills, there is no danger of the British monarchy ever being served by competent leadership, especially in ethics. He's not been to seminary, he's not been to law school, he's not been to university, he's not run a corporation. You know, he doesn't have the experience. Hallett is uneducated in civil methods of sovereignty, dominion, and British civil bureaucracy. Now, it's nice that he's born in the correct bloodline. Okay, I'll give you that, but it's not sufficient. The UK Privy Council is failing to support, challenge, and defend the Magna Carta or the need for a new monarch in Britain. Its members are foot-dragging, stonewalling elites. I don't know whether I would call them treasonous, but they're certainly not committed to the welfare of the British people, to the ongoing dominion of common law, or to the principle of consent of the governed. And this has been Emily Windsor Craig, and I protest that the rich classes are causing these protests by their stonewalling and foot dragging and lack. They're just what, a bunch of soy boys running the rich classes now? That's what it looks like to me. My name is Emily Windsor Craig, and I'm here to speak my mind today. Thank you very much for coming by. Bye-bye.